Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Bible in 1 year with the preacher's husband. Today we are talking about Numbers chapter 31 and 32. So we start out with war. And it was kind of a disturbing war in a way. This is considered some of the most disturbing passages in the Bible when it comes to war and the way that God has directed the Israelites to act, how they act in war, and what they do after the war. Many people consider what happened here in this chapter to be genocide of the sorts. So, what do you think about this? War started with the Midianites, and basically the Lord spoke to Moses and said, "You're going to go take the Midianites. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to get 1,000 well-armed soldiers from each clan. So that would be 12 clans, 1,000 each. That's 12,000 soldiers. Gonna attack Midian." So the Israelites took Midian, and they win. They go and they do it with 12,000 soldiers. They took the Midianite women and their dependents captive, and they plundered all of the cattle, flocks, and property, which is kind of normal for a war of this time. But Moses became furious because the soldiers brought back all of these women and the women's dependents, which means there were male sons that they brought back as well that were children. And Moses says, "Have you let every female live? Yet they are the ones who at Balaam's advice incited the Israelites to unfaithfulness against the Lord in the Peor incident, so that the plague came against the Lord's community. So now kill every male among the dependents and kill every woman who has gone to bed with a man." So basically the only ones that were going to be left alive were young virgin girls. That's it. Everybody else had to die because they had sinned and they had led Israel into sin. They were the tempters, so to speak. So that's what they did. Then he says you got to purify yourself and also purify everything. And they go through a purification process. Now, the captives remaining from the plunder that the army had taken totaled 675,000 sheep and goats, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, and get this, 32,000 people, all females who have not gone to bed with a man. 32,000 female virgins. Now, do you remember that there were only 12,000 total soldiers that went to war here? So if there were 32,000 of just the female virgins, imagine how many there were that were not. Imagine how many male dependents there were. Imagine how many male soldiers there were. And that began to make you think, did they go in broad daylight or did they sneak in and do it under the cover of darkness? How did they do it? There weren't a whole lot of details about the how. It just says they did. 12,000 soldiers just doesn't seem to be quite enough. So, what do you think about that? When the Bible previously said 1,000, it was referring to a really large number. It wasn't referring to just 1,000. So do you think there were only 12,000 men that went? Or do you think that 1,000 per tribe meant a lot, or as many as possible? I think it's possible that it meant as many as possible, because 12,000 doesn't seem to be enough to be able to do the job. But then again, who knows? I've been wrong before. Chapter 32, the Transjordan settlements. The Reubenites and the Gadites. Here's what's happened. The Reubenites and the Gadites had a very large number of livestock. Of course, after all this had happened, they had livestock. And they noticed that these lands of Jazer and Gilead were very good for livestock. They were good for grazing. They were awesome lands, and they wanted those lands. They went to Moses and the priests and said, "Hey, we want to go here. We don't want to cross over the Jordan and take on the Canaanites. We just want to stay here. We just want this land." And Moses got furious, and so did the Lord. And Moses basically says, "Should your brothers go to war while you just stay here?" Kind of leaving their brothers behind there, huh? And he basically, that's what your fathers did when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. Remember what happened there? When they sent the 12 scouts and they came back, and 10 of those 12 scouts said, no, we better not go into the land of Canaan. There's a bunch of people there. They're pretty strong. I think they'd beat us. But Caleb and Joshua said, let's do it. The other 10 didn't, and then their tribes were punished for convincing them to not follow what God had told them to do. So the Lord's anger burned that day, and the Lord's anger burned against them now as well. Moses basically said, if you do this, if you arm yourselves for battle before the Lord, and every one of your armed men crosses the Jordan before the Lord until he has driven his enemies from his presence, and the land is subdued before the Lord, afterward you may return and be free from obligation to the land of Israel, to the Lord and to Israel. Basically said, all right, here's the deal. You pick up all your weapons and all your able-bodied men, come and fight with us. When the war's over and we win, then you can come back and have this land as yours. But you got to fight with us no matter what. So they basically said, deal, we're in, we're on this. We will cross over the battle formation before the Lord into the land of Canaan, but we will keep our hereditary possession across the Jordan. So Moses gave it to him. And that's going to bring us to the end of chapter 32. Tomorrow we're going to be on chapters 33 and 34 of Numbers. If I skip some things, feel free to put it in the comment section and let's talk about it. And I hope to see you again tomorrow for another episode of the Bible in 1 Year with the Preacher's Husband. So, click that like button, that subscribe button, and of course hit the little jingle bell so you can get notified the next time I upload a video, which will be tomorrow. Peace.